Howdy, howdy, howdy. My name is Tad Stevens, and I'm the director at CPEthink.com. And welcome to our video on CPE certification, where we're going to get to know all about making sure your CPE credits are valid right after our short video intro. Okay, CPE certification. How do CPE courses become certified? Well, mostly they don't, but we'll get into that in just a minute. How do CPE providers become certified? Well, they don't either, really, but we'll explain that here in just a minute. And what CPE certification for you look for? That is what this video is going to be on, and we're going to cover all that. In a moment, I'm going to show you something every CPA or EA can use just for watching this video, so please do stick around for that. Okay, how do CPE courses become certified? Short answer is they don't, with a few exceptions. NASBA and state boards of accountancy do not certify standard courses. They do not look at each course. They don't go through them. They don't certify them. They don't certify them. They don't accredit them. The only really course that is certified by any body is there's an AI-CPA special ethics course, and it is approved, really. It's not certified. It's more approved by the AI-CPA, and they're the only people that can offer it. So that you could consider as being certified by NASBA, AI-CPA. Even though anyone could offer the course, the AI-CPA restricts you taking the course just from them, and they charge about 3 times as much as it would be in the open market. So to me, that's probably why they do that. And also, as I mentioned or alluded to earlier, there's no such thing as accredited CPE. CPE is not accredited, but we'll get into how that works here in just a second. Okay, how do CPE providers become certified then if courses are not certified? Well, short answer is they don't either. The way that works is NASBA and state boards of accountancy, and sometimes both, approve what are called sponsors. So CPEthink.com, we are a NASBA QAS and registry sponsor. What that means is that we are held to a set of guidelines published about every 4 years by the AI-CPA and NASBA, and state boards of accountancy have input on that. Basically, what it comes down to is NASBA approves sponsors, and then the sponsors are responsible for making sure that the courses follow the guidelines. And the way NASBA follows up on that or makes sure or oversees that, makes sure that that's done, is every year we have a self-audit. All CPE sponsors from NASBA have a yearly self-audit where we're required to go through a very long questionnaire, pay several $1,000s, and say that, yes, we are following the guidelines. About every 4 or so years, sometimes more, sometimes less, NASBA will do an actual audit where they will select a number of courses, and we are required to submit those or give them access to those courses, and they will do a physical audit. They will actually have somebody go through the course, go through the exam, make sure everything ties, make sure everything works the way that the guidelines say it should work. And if it doesn't, then the sponsor is given one chance to fix it in 30 days. And if they don't do that, then they lose their sponsorship. Now, NASBA has recently entered a penalty for not passing an audit. Not sure how that's going to affect the market. It's pretty new. It just started about a year ago. And NASBA in the past has been kind of inconsistent in their audits. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But I'm sure that it is not going to detrimentally affect the market, or I don't expect it to do that because there would be too many people in an uproar, and it would be against NASBA's purpose, stated purpose, and published purpose for being there. So I think it's going to be business as usual. It's just going to be possibly a little bit tougher for sponsors, which can be a good thing, because the harder it is for sponsors, the higher quality in general the CPE tends to be. State boards of accountancy and licensing agencies can also approve sponsors. So say, like, for example, if a CPE provider is an in-person CPE provider and they just operate in the state of Texas, then they probably wouldn't want to be a NASBA sponsor. It's a arduous process, Costs, like I said, several $1,000s depending on how many courses you got. So they could go to the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy and apply to be just a sponsor for the Texas State Board. That works. Same thing works with that for several states, Florida, New York, California, Ohio. There are several states that will certify a sponsor just for that state. It has gotten to the point where there are so many states now, though, that don't approve them or that don't approve a sponsor. What they say in their guidelines or their statutes is that they will accept courses from NASBA registry and NASBA QAS self-study sponsors. Gets around them having to go through an approval process and an approval basically department in their Board of Accountancy or licensing agency. And as I mentioned, NASBA has registry and QAS self-study sponsors. QAS is a higher level of course approval, or not course approval, of sponsor approval. Registry can contain courses that have, say, a few true-false questions. They have some other not as rigid criteria, whereas QAS is much more rigid in the criteria that the courses have to follow. The guidelines are much more strict, and the goal of which is to provide a better CPE course, better meaning more educational. So what CPE certification should you look for? Well, as I mentioned to and alluded earlier, none, because CPE sponsors and CPE courses are not certified. If somebody is telling you, if a sponsor or a CPE provider is telling you that they are certified or their courses are certified or they are accredited or their courses are accredited, that's just not true. That's not the way it works. Now, a lot of them will say that because it's marketing and because people expect those words to be used. But technically, they cannot say that. That violates the guidelines, the AICPA NASBA guidelines. So when you're looking for whether a course is accepted by your state, the first thing you probably want to do is look and see if they are a NASBA QAS self-study sponsor. If they are, those courses are accepted in all 50 states. If they are just a NASBA registry sponsor, which is a little bit lower, those courses are probably accepted in about 43 states. Florida, Oregon, Tennessee, and there's a few others that are QAS states. But you're generally safe if you go with sponsors that say that they are and that have an approval number, a sponsor ID that indicates that they've been approved for NASBA QAS self-study. You're good to go with that, whatever U.S. state or U.S. territory you are in. As I said, what certification should you look for? You shouldn't. You want to look for NASBA-approved sponsors, QAS, which we just went over. And now there's an exception here. Say like for Texas, California, Florida, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Washington, I think maybe Tennessee and Alabama now, but I'm not for sure. I'd have to go back and look. But you can look on our site. That's all documented. And it's also documented at your state board, is that these states have board-approved ethics courses. So there are specific courses that have to go through an approval process with that Board of Accountancy before they can be presented and will be accepted as ethics, as regulatory ethics for CPE for that state. California, for example, has a 2-credit hour regulatory review course, has to be taken every 6 years. They also have a 4-hour behavioral review course that can be generic, has to be taken every 2 years. So California, in that instance, has both. Most states that require them just have one requirement. It has to have at least a stated number of regulatory credits, and it can have behavioral ethics credits as well. Different states require different hour requirements. Because say California's regulatory review is 2 hours. Florida's ethics course is 4 hours. Texas is 4. New York's is 4. And New York can have several different types of ethics. They can have tax ethics. They can have, I think attestation ethics. They can have many different kinds, or a few different kinds, maybe not many. But there are a few different kinds, so you have to watch out for that. Okay, so I hope you like this video. If you'd like more, please tap or click subscribe and leave a comment or a question. This way, we'll know what videos that you're interested in that we can make in the future to hopefully answer your questions and help you in your CPE search. Remember that promise I made at the beginning? How about some free CPE just for watching this video? Go to cpethink.com/video2. That's the number 2, video and the number 2, and use the $15 coupon code on that page. It's one-time use. There's no opt-in required, and it's good for courses and unlimited subscriptions. That's 100 one-credit CPE courses to choose from for free, and that's in tax, ethics, and all the available fields of study where the course is 1 credit hour, or you can use it for a discount on a longer course or a subscription. So in our next video, I'm going to go over CPE deadlines and the who, what, where, and how about that. So subscribe, and I'll see you there.